hope you're well. And thank you ever so much for joining us this afternoon. We're very excited for our fourth webinar in this series where we speak to leaders in the fresh produce industry. Very excited. This session is going to be hosted by our CEO and co-founder, Sachin Shende, and also our special guest, Diane Wauters. Just a reminder that these sessions are to be insightful and to be engaging and also to be very relaxed. So really hope that you enjoy, kick back. And without further ado, I'm going to pass over to you, Sachin. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Georgie, for that great introduction. My name is Sachin Shende, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of KisanHub. To put it simply, our software is used by farmers, their advisors, procurement managers in the supply chain, who are using the software to manage the procurement of either a raw ingredient or a fresh produce. I'd like to welcome Diane Wauters from AB InBev. Diane, it is a great pleasure to have you with us today. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Diane. Thanks all for joining. Very happy to have this session with KisanHub. So as Sachin mentioned, I work for AB InBev. I used to be part of the global agriculture team. And now I lead agriculture and sustainability for Asia, based out of India. And that's how I also got to work closely with KisanHub. So happy to share some of the learnings from our journey.
Cool. To kickstart this conversation, we'll start probably at a very high-level vision of AB InBev. We love what AB InBev is doing, and we love AB InBev's vision on global sustainability goals. So could you please tell us about the sustainability goals, what they are, but most importantly, why does AB InBev care about these goals?
It's not that sustainability is new. Like I will cover at the end a little bit why we really care and why we think is our business actually sustainability. But so on our journey, so in 2010, 12, we always had kind of sustainability goals, but very focused on inside our walls. For example, in our breweries, water usage, efficiency, it was a lot about our body quality. So we always worked on that, but it's really in 2018 that we had a big shift and decided to really put goals that are not only in our walls, but also outside, right? So if you look at water, it's not only about water usage efficiency in our breweries, but it's also in the watershed, right? What do we do with other corporates to make sure that the watershed stay healthy, that we recharge the water we use, especially in a country like India? So for me, I love to see that shift, and I will tell you a bit the 4 goals we have, right? I think it's important for companies. Basically, if you have a big scale, there's a lot of impact you can have, but we believe it's with focus you deliver results, right? You cannot tackle any issue on the planet. So we decided to take the 4th one closest to our business, which is water, because no water, no beer, which is circular packaging, like the return of a bottle, increase the recycled content is very key for companies like us. Climate action, which has 2 pieces. For us, climate action is renewable energy and carbon emission reduction, right? So we have this commitment, 25% carbon emission reduction by 2025. Seems far away, but it's quite close actually when you think that we're already in 2020. And so the 4th one, of course, is smart agriculture. So we have been working for a long time close to our farmers. I think when you look at the language of the goal, what I like to see, it's very farmer-centric, right? It's not only about, we mainly grow barley. We also do cassava and other crops, but it's very focused on barley. But we decided to put the goal as being skilling our farmers, financially empower them and connect it. And that's where KisanHub also plays a big role. So I'm very proud because I think it's true what we do. Like in our supply chain, I think it's very important to actually know the people, right? A lot of people say, oh, we work with our farmers, but I can give you the name of the 1,000 farmers we work in India. And I think that's really cool. If you want to impact the supply chain, you can only do it if you actually know who you work with, which is harder in some areas, like in the bottle supply chain, to go that deep. But overall, so that are the 4 goals. Focus, that's how we get results. And then on just to quickly go to your point on why we care, we like to say sustainability is our business. I think if you as a company try to keep sustainability as a different piece, like the sustainability program, sustainability project, I don't really believe it works. So I always feel that my job is a bit being an influencer. It's like to make sure that each department, when they make decision, did they consider sustainability, right? Marketing, launch a new product, did they consider sustainability? So I feel it's important that it's really embedded in anything you do, that the leaders in the company make decisions knowing the impact it has on 10, 20, 100 years for the future. So, yeah.
Fantastic. My next question really is, in terms of your journey on this digitalization of the supply chain. As far as I know, again, just like sustainability goals, AB InBev took quite, a leap of faith early on in digitalizing those, digitalizing the supply chain and the procurement system, right? I think it's a scary thing to do at the size AB InBev is, and the journey must have been very, very different when you started on this. I think it will really help us kind of understand initially, how did you kind of approach this problem, and really what was the journey like in those initial days, and then how do you start implementing these solutions in your business?
I like hearing you say how we approach this problem. So I think first is an important question to see if it is a problem for you. If you see it's a gap, from my perspective, most companies, they want to go towards digitalization, right? Probably also depend on the size of the company. And again, I'm not sure of the other people in this call, but so for us at AB InBev, because it's such a big company, I'm going to talk about my perspective on this. I think it's key. If you want to be able to make data-driven decisions, you actually need data, right? And you need the data available in one place across your supply chain, but also what do you do with the data, right? Actually, no, we see the problem sometimes shifting. We have so much data, how do you use it, right? So I see this is important on the selection of the tools is how to use the data and make sure it actually brings value to your business and your stakeholder, for example, being the farmers, right? And also, I think digitalization is key if you want to be agile and scale fast. So we like to believe we are not a startup anymore, but we still want to be very agile. And for this, I think digitalization helps a lot, right? Because if you want to scale from 1,000 to 10,000 farmers, and you want to make sure you can still visit those farmers, right? Stay connected to them and provide the right information timely. Don't provide information after the harvest is done. I don't see with limited resources that usually we face as company, you can do it without digitalization, right? And so for me on the why it's a problem, it's a gap, for me sure, the future, if you want to scale, if you want to grow, digitalization of your supply chain is really the first step to then bring this change, right? And then on your question on the right tools, I don't know if you have the answer today yet. I think it's really a work in progress. Maybe some of you guys on the call also had this question, should we build some tools like in-house, or should we partner with startups or other people to actually build the right tools, right? Like we did with KisanHub in India. So I think on this, we have done both, some successes, some failure, but that's at the end how you learn. But I feel it's important to keep also the users in your mind, right? Actually, for example, in this case, the farmers, do they want actually each company to have a separate system, right? Like all farmers will grow barley, but then they will grow cotton. So I strongly believe in those platforms like KisanHub, that's a dream I still have, that it's not just for the one scope I want. Like I want to do this for the farmers where actually you can really make sure that it's value for them and it's broader scope than just your crop, and then ensure long-term that we can work with other companies. On, I think the third part was your question on the implementation.
Yeah.
That I think, to be honest, is always quite tough. I think nobody will tell you just smooth, you decide a tool, you implement, it works, but you get very interesting learnings, right? We implemented KisanHub. We also did quite a bit of work if people are interested to check out what we do with blockchain. It's tough because you bring change, and no change is easy. Whatever you do in life, it's a decision, and I think it's big change management and need leadership as well in your company if you want to start that change. But it's also really open gaps, right? It's because you decide to take that kind of step to bring tool digitally that it forces you to open the gaps, because you need this transparency. You need to make sure that all the right controls are still in place. Like to me, digitalization doesn't solve anything, it's a huge enabler. But if your supply chain, if you have some challenges in supply chain, you will just open the gap, I think, with digitalization. So I think it's amazing because it's bringing you to the next level of know what you also need to do in your supply chain, right? If you don't know what's happening in supply chain, if you don't know which data it's where, who are the people in your supply chain. So I think that's really key. It's digitalization is there, but don't forget the change management that go with it and the leadership and the team you need behind it to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's such a key message, leadership and team has to be 100% behind it. One of the things which I think was quite critical for me from what you said just now is that connectivity with farmers. I think, farmers in the procurement are like one of the most sort of, important user groups. And I think, enabling them to produce like a quality produce at a sustainable, in a sustainable way, I think it's hugely important. So moving on, we KisanHub and AB InBev, we have been working together since October 2018. It will be great to know, specifically, what were your pain points and challenges in that area, and how did then KisanHub help you address those pain points and challenges?
For the people on the call, like Sachin mentioned, so we had an agro program for several years in India. So we grow with them malting barley for beers, right? So the program was existing. What we were really missing, I think, again, going back to that point on data decision, is good quality data and in one place. I think most of you on the call, if you have worked with this, you know how important it is. If you don't have the right data, it won't work, but also the right level. And I think this, on a pain point or challenge that KisanHub really helped us solve, is to have field level data, right? If you just have high level information, that's good for your global reporting for a company, but that doesn't really help your farmers, right? So I think this KisanHub clearly allows to go into the depth of the field and have that kind of precision in the data, which I think is really important if you want to actually use it to make your local decisions. I think that's very important. Is digitalization. It's local. It's not a global initiative, but that's really at the end game to keep in mind. And I think also, obviously, the size, right? Again, you can have an Excel, but when you start working with dozens of farmers, have data again in one place, I think this KisanHub can bring, and then also can we teach other farmers on where they can improve, right? So basically have this field level data, have a lot of data together to really make real decision and understand what works better in which area and for which farmer. Then also the live availability of weather data for the people that have seen the app or have been on KisanHub website. This, I think when you open the app, you can see this live data, and that's also very close to the farmer. There's also another point, so actually a lot of challenges we had, but a lot of help we got from KisanHub, is what we call a crop protocol update, right? So when we grow with the farmers the barley, we give a crop protocol, like how we would recommend that they grow, how many times they irrigate, how many times they put fertilizer. And so for us, we always struggle to how can we monitor, do the farmer actually follow the recommendation we give, and are we sure that it actually bring like the best quality barley if they follow. So then in KisanHub, we have now this crop protocol, and we are able to monitor during the season how they actually work and potential deviations. So for this, it's super useful during the season because you can directly see if a farmer didn't irrigate, or we can just adjust our recommendations very fast. But also after the season, you can use it to study deviation and then see actually how you can improve step by step the crop protocol. And that's key, right? Right protocol bring you the right barley quality, and as such also the farmer potentially more money, and at the end we again want to empower our farmers, right? And then I think another point, was all this knowledge and video sharing. So there's something really cool that we haven't seen that much in other platforms, is farmers actually like to share knowledge, and also you're enabled to share videos, right? Let's say we want to show them on a farm how to seed or how to do storage on farm or things like that. So it's very easy to communicate with your farmers if you have a tool like that. And also you're all the time connected, right? So COVID this year was crazy for us in India. We had the lockdown where we were supposed to harvest. And so how do you work with all this procurement, right? The farmers had this harvest, they follow your crop protocol. We need to find a way to actually be able to, or teach them to store it until we can buy it, make sure we reassure them, we'll still buy your crop and all this. So that KisanHub was a big saver for us because they also have an SMS function, right? So you can keep all the time a group of farmers. So for us, and that's also on the point digitalization didn't mention before, but be ready before it happened. So at least we already had the tool in hand, and then with COVID hit us, we could really reorganize, right? Put trainings online, make sure farmers can see it, stay connected with them, send an SMS. And that for me, I think it's key if you want to stay on that connecting piece. And then at the end, I would say just visibility, right? At the end, if you want to be able to improve, if you want to open gaps and adjust fast, you need visibility on a daily basis. And that's a very big difference from an Excel file, right? How long do you take time to reconcile? To have this digitalization of tools, I think allows you again to go back to that point on agility, to react much faster, be there in the market when the farmers need. And so, yeah, that's the main, I think, key point. So we had a lot of challenges, and it's still a journey, right? I think, Sachin, you will agree as well. We started in 2018, but it's still for many years to come, small improvement each year.
In order to kind of, people who are thinking to embark on this journey, what is your key message to them? Or, if you can summarize certain key learnings from your own experience for them on this journey.
Digitalization meets transparency. Don't go on a digitalization journey with skipping the step on transparency and really understand what's happening in your supply chain. Know all the actors and to who to talk so they feel part of this journey and you're not on your own. And I think actually has much more impact if you do it with several partners together. And then probably discipline also in when you bring the change, right? It will be as good as what you put in, right? So for example, on data recording, there's a huge discipline you need to bring on your teams, on the farmers to make sure it's right. And also discipline in the change management, right? Make sure, like we mentioned before, you have the right leadership. So I would say it requires discipline. I would also say that, like I mentioned before, to be prepared for this unknown, right? I think it's really big. Don't wait for people to ask you. I think transparency and traceability is something your consumer might ask someday. Again, I don't know exactly in which business the people are on this call, but we see more and more, right? People asking, okay, in this beer, where the body come from? And it might someday really become a requirement, right? Here in Belgium already a lot of, for example, vegetables you buy, you have legally to put right where they come from. So I really think don't wait it to become a requirement. It can really increase your impact. It can increase your credibility with stakeholders, with government, that you really want to empower those farmers and stay connected with them. But also don't wait it to be too late. You saw this year how change can happen very fast, and digitalization can really help you to have this resilience and agility to still be successful in difficult times.
I would like to kind of thank you very much for your time. And it was a pleasure chatting with you today.
Of course, thank you. And just to close on your point, I like that you mentioned is thinking differently, right? It's how they always say transformation isn't about improving, it's about rethinking. And I think that to close, I hope people can go home with that thought in mind.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Transformation is all about rethinking. I'll take that. Thank you very much for that. Okay, cool. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
And thank you very much all for joining. And we look forward to seeing you on our next one's webinar. That will be with James Green from Cheese Fresh. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.